A Chinese state-owned company is buying a forestry plantation in the Solomon Islands. But when the Chinese delegation visited the island, they asked nothing about the forests. Instead, reports say they were extra curious about the length of the wharf, an area where ships dock to load and unload, and the depth of the water. Other than tens of thousands of acres of forest, the plantation also covers a deep water port and a World War II-era airstrip. The purchase plan has raised alarms in Australia and allied countries about the Chinese regime's real plan. Beijing has already signed a security agreement with the Solomon Islands, causing panic in the West. And given the island's strategically important location, many have suspected that what the regime really wants is a military base on the Pacific island. In an interview, former U.S. National Security Council advisor Alex Gray explained why the Solomon Islands are so important.
I think that if Solomon Islands ends up with a dual-use facility or a permanent base or some in-between hybrid model that gives the Chinese access, it's going to be the most devastating impact on the security of the first island chain going into the second island chain since World War II. It'll be the greatest threat to Australian national security since 1945. I don't think you can exaggerate how much of a danger it will be to the alliance structure that the United States has built.
The first island chain consists of a group of islands including Taiwan, Japan's Okinawa, and the Philippines. It was seen as the first line of defense to contain the spread of Soviet Union influence during the Cold War, and now Communist China. The second island chain contains U.S. naval base Guam. Gray mentioned that the Solomon Islands are only a few hours' flight from Australia, and the islands sit astride Australia's sea lines of communication.
There's a reason why thousands of Americans died in World War II fighting to keep Henderson Field on Guadalcanal operative, because the control of that island is absolutely critical for Australia's outlet to the wider world. And I think there is a real, not just Australian national imperative, but an American national imperative from an alliance management standpoint in keeping the Solomons from going down this path.
As reported by Australian media outlet ABC, the current owners of the forestry plantation are voicing concerns. Taiwanese and Australian shareholders wrote a letter to the Australian government in May, warning that the sale could pose risks or strategic threats to Australia. They say actions are needed to prevent China from taking control of the port and airstrip and establishing a base. According to ABC, Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade wrote back to the board last week, saying it was not intervening.